Hello, friends. Welcome to Story Behind Podcast. This is the show for people who love hearing a good story and who believe the world could use more positivity. We're the team behind GodUpdates and God2, and we hope these weekly short stories will brighten your day.
Dogs Come to School to Help Comfort Young Students Affected by the Eaton Fire. Written by Heather Riggleman, read by Julie Provost. Dogs come to school to help comfort young students affected by the Eaton Fire, and it's such a blessing as the weight of loss hangs heavy as ash settles after a fire. It lingers in the quiet moments, in the way children's fingers grip their pencils a little tighter, in the way their shoulders curve inward when the air turns too still. When a fire sweeps through a place you love, your school, your home, it doesn't just take the buildings, it takes the familiar, the safe, the known. But then, in the middle of all that loss, come paws patting gently into the uncertainty. Big brown eyes full of knowing, fur soft enough to hold sorrow. Therapy dogs at St. Mark's School don't ask questions. They don't need words. They just show up right in the middle of the mess, the grief, the rebuilding, and maybe that's what healing looks like. Just something warm to hold on to when everything else has burned away. Jennifer Foley Toddler, the head of the school, knows this kind of healing firsthand. She lost her home in the Eaton Fire, just across the street from the school. It was devastating because not only did I come to know that we had lost our school campus, but also my home, Jennifer said. But even in the heartbreak, she sees a light. To see the kids each day, their resilience, their joy, it just empowers all of us to keep going. Going means waking up each morning in a new place and adjusting to borrowed classrooms and unfamiliar hallways. After the fire, the 240 St. Mark's School students relocated to EF Academy in Pasadena. But transition is never easy, especially when it isn't your choice. Then the dogs arrived. Monica Galipsky, who works with North County San Diego Love on a Leash, coordinated the effort to bring therapy dogs from San Diego, Orange County, and Los Angeles. More than a dozen dogs, tails wagging, noses nudging, small hands, came to do what they do best, offer comfort without condition. You right away see their body language change, Monica said. A smile, how you cannot smile when a dog comes in, and then you actually experience an emotional relief when you're petting the dogs. Jennifer has seen the way the dogs lift the children's spirits. It's such a joy today to have these therapy dogs on campus, to see the hope and to see the bright light it brings to the kids' faces, she said. Hope, light, the very things fire tried to take. Adrian, a 6th grader, had been missing his friends. Very nice, yeah, he said, smiling. Yeah, it was kind of worrying not to see them so much. For Gianna, another 6th grader, the loss is personal. She lost her home in the fire and now lives in La Crescenta. Displacement is lonely, even when people rally around you. But the dogs don't let you feel alone. They come close, press their warm bodies against yours, and remind you what it feels like to be grounded, to be safe. Maybe that's why dogs are called man's best friends. Not just because they love us, but because they teach us how to keep going. They don't dwell on what was lost. They just sit beside us in the waiting, in the healing, and the in-between spaces where sorrow and joy are mixed together. A school can be rebuilt, a house can be replaced, but the love, the comfort, the presence of a dog on a hard day, sometimes that's what makes all the difference. And maybe healing starts with something as simple as a wagging tail and a willing heart. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalms 34:18.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
What do you think of when you hear the name The Salvation Army? Helping people? Ringing bells at Christmas? Podcasts? Yes, the Salvation Army creates a network of podcasts in both English and Spanish. One of those shows, Words of Life, is a 15-minute weekly show featuring testimonies, interviews, and conversations about topics impacting the church today. On recent and upcoming episodes, we'll be joined by Dr. Craig Keener.
Christianity doesn't rise or fall on Christians. It rises or falls on Jesus Christ.
Bishop for the Global Methodist Church, Dr. Carolyn Moore.
I am consumed by the mind of Christ, and my heart gets broken for the things that break God's heart. I begin now to walk in power.
Nicole Eunice, Rachel Wojo, and more. Listen and subscribe to Words of Life wherever you listen to podcasts, or visit wordsoflifepodcast.org.
Toddler braves the dark to save his great-grandma. Written by Heather Riggleman, read by Julie Provost. A toddler braves the dark to save his great-grandma, and it's jaw-dropping how he gets her the help she really needs. You never really know where courage will bloom. Maybe in the heart of a warrior, maybe in the hands of a rescuer. Or maybe in a 3-year-old boy's tiny chubby fingers clutching a phone in the dark. Bridger Peabody wasn't looking to be a hero that night in Strasburg, Colorado. He was just a little boy staying with his great-grandmother, Sharon Lewis, his beloved Gigi, while his parents were at the hospital with his older sister. It was supposed to be just another night until it wasn't. As they approached Gigi's home, the dark stretched long and deep, a velvet hush over the backyard. Sharon, steadying herself with her walker, made her way to the steps when suddenly the world tilted. We went up to the backyard, dark backyard, she said. Then we got up to the door where I was going to get the keys out. Well, I must have tripped over something just sticking up there, and just like that she fell, hard. The sharp corner of the cement step caught her head, and in an instant, blood soaked her clothes, warm and terrifying in the night. She had her walker, and then she fell, Bridger explained, his voice small but sure. She bonked her head, and it popped open. They called for help. A neighbor's light glowed in the distance, a promise of safety, but no one heard them. Bridger, 3 years old, stood beside his great-grandmother, waiting. The kind of waiting that felt stretched tight like a rope between panic and hope. Then Gigi made a decision. I said, you know what? You're going to have to go out to the car and get my phone, she recalled. A pause. Bridger, so tiny in the night, whispered, the fear setting heavy in his little chest. It's too dark, Gigi. My grandmother knows. She knows the way to fear. She also knows the way to faith. I said, I know, but you're going to have to be brave. Jesus will help you. And so, with the kind of courage that doesn't roar but simply takes one small step forward, Bridger ran into the dark. On the security footage, you can hear him whispering to himself like a promise, like a prayer. Don't be afraid. Little feet scurried across the gold pavement, shadows stretching around him. He reached the car, tiny hands working to open the door. The moment the phone was in his grasp, he cheered, a victorious little voice breaking through the night. Yay, I did it! And then the call, the rescue, the flashing lights, the weight of all of it lifted. Sharon was taken to the hospital with a concussion and a wound that required 22 staples, but she's recovering well. And Bridger, well, he's still just little Bridger. She calls me her hero, he says, simply, but I'm just Bridger. Maybe he doesn't know what a hero is yet. Maybe he doesn't need to. But because sometimes bravery isn't about capes or grand gestures, it's a little boy in the dark whispering to himself, don't be afraid. And believing it enough to take the next step.
Thank you so much for listening to Story Behind Podcast. We're really glad you joined us for this week's story. To see photos and videos that may have been referenced in this episode, check out the links in the show notes. And if you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe to our podcast, and please tell a friend about us. We'd also love it if you'd rate us and leave us a review. It really does help more people find us. Story Behind is a Salem Web Network production.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.